Hello there folks, SeKo Starcraft, really speeding up a replay here. Terran versus Protoss. Got me up here as the red Terran player, Omniscient, up against TheWarden, Protoss player. I think we're both in our placement matches for this most recent season. I had to go through 5 placement matches again. So neither of us were ranked at the start of this one. You see I've got an SUV going out for an early scout, and I'm actually walling off. I've gotten into the habit of walling off, not many people are punishing it anymore. There used to be a day and age where people would always punish your play, like they'd definitely always go out of their way to take some stalkers and beat you up if you had a wall there. But it doesn't happen as much anymore. Too macro focused. Trying to like wiggle around. Sometimes you can bounce your SEV through this a bit longer, but I'll block with an engineering bay and head home. The Zealot's out nice and fast, so it's not going to delay him too far. He had to do a quick little pause there. But we can see his money starting to build up. He had to build that Zealot, so clearly it's not what he had in mind perfectly. Down it goes. Back at home, factory started off nice and early. I'm going to be going for some widowmine drops while the economy is moving along. Mothership core heading out onto the map. Generally pretty safe. I've been getting away with some very early marine pushes the last little bit against Protoss, so doing something like this could, get you in a lot of trouble if you're not paying attention. Forge going down. I don't know why I slowed it down. Still nothing really happening yet. Marines coming out. Starport on the way. Zealot just coming into probe. That's kind of the other reason why I like the wall there. If the wall wasn't there, I mean, 3 Marines can handle a Zealot, but you're going to take a little bit of beating, so that's why having that wall here, push that back, no damage taken. And now I've got my widowmines. Gas being taken. And starting my command center. So, quite a bit behind his base. If we look at the units tab, he is up by a lot of workers. Got all of his gases going. And interestingly enough, double forge. When you see that from a Protoss player, you should feel pretty darn safe that nothing's coming to punch you in the face right away. Just because he's got to sit back and build on those. It's a big investment. A lot of gas and money goes into making those and making the upgrades. So that's clearly not making stalkers or oracles or things that are going to come across and eat on your soul. Could be boosting out a few more probes. Not a big deal though. Back on this side, still getting lots and lots of gas. Moving into a second factory really quickly here, and I'm supply blocked because I'm a champion. So he does have the forges down. I think I scanned and saw those, so that's always a concern that he might have. Sorry, what was I going to say? He could have some cannons in place. I don't think that one's going to get down. Oh, it does too. Dang. Anyways, where did he get killed out of that anyways? Only got 2 workers out of it. He did start his cannon here pretty quick. I think it's in range of most of that stuff, so it wasn't the best widowmine drop. Particularly as he's got this base down here. It's amazingly oversaturated, so he's losing money by not mining in his normal base. And that's buying me my time here to essentially just get everything else in order. But would have liked to have gotten a lot more accomplished with that drop. Such is life. That was really nice. Picked off a couple more. So, at least a little bit better. Saved the medevac with the Marines. Still come home. Live a happy life. I'm getting pretty saturated up in this space. I wanted to make sure I at least had a few units out before I decided to take my low ground. Just because it's, I'm relying on a tank and a couple of Marines to essentially keep me going at this point. He could push out with this army and maybe even get a bunch of damage done. But we can see, forced a bunch of cannons. His upgrades are bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And the problem with me is when I'm playing Mech, as I am doing right now, is I generally neglect my upgrades because it's very difficult to afford to go Mech and upgrades. Third command center started nice and quick though. And widowmines out. Widowmines we will see become very important. Protoss always seems like they have the answer to widowmines because your observers really aren't going to be detected. But if you have enough of them in the right spots, you can do a good job. Going in for another drop as well, and I think this was the important part of my Mech that I was missing over the last little bit. It's just regular harassment. I've been so preoccupied for the most part in just building up a turtley defense and not wanting to sacrifice any units, but if you're taking the fight to your opponent, sometimes you can get away with, being a little bit greedier out front. Want to drop these in a place where they're not going to get spotted right away. Oh yeah, my blue flame's finished as well. That was such a bad stack. Don't stack your probes when you get in those positions. That was nice. 26 killed. That's actually going to put us up probably... Actually, I'm in the lead. Look how much I'm in the lead. I'm proud of myself. Couple of missile turrets going down. Locked one SCV in there because they're retarded. But I do like having some missile turrets down, not just for protecting against oracles, but generally 1 or 2 missile turrets will deter most warp prisms from getting in the back of your base. And that's always been a worry of mine, is the warp prisms. He is taking a third base, building up the probes he lost, and going double no, it's his first robo. Oracle's out. Did he make a Templar Archives? Let's see. Oh, there it is. Huh. But he's going storms, and I don't think he's recognized that I am going a mech composition here. And this was really cute. I actually see this probe come in with my command center right next to where I'm building up my new planetary fortress. Getting into the habit of trying to, work in a few more of these sensor towers as well. It's almost like cheating, it feels, when you use those. You can just reveal so many units that are going on, that it's just, it's silly. So, pretty equal on bases. I'm still ahead a bit on workers, though I'm not really making a ton more. I should keep up with my construction of the workers. And you can generally get away with pretty easily a planetary fortress, stick 2 tanks in the back, and make sure it's covered with missile turrets and some mines. And that base will generally take care of itself almost indefinitely, or at least pay for itself with the amount it costs to do that fight. Speed it up again here. Looks like we're both pretty content to chill. Very bio-focused, bio-killing kind of focused army here. Otherwise we'd be seeing more immortals out. I think he's starting to get a hint that I'm going into mech because of the double starports. And very importantly, do I scout those? Oh yeah, I ran in there and I did see the double starports. And that's a very important thing for me, because if I get caught with my pants down with no Vikings or anything like that, I could be in a lot of trouble. I do have good missile turret coverage and widowmines, but you want something that's mobile in the air to deal with it. So we should see me transitioning into more air units here pretty quickly. Still, I've actually got a supply lead. Economy's pretty even. Scan, see kind of the hodgepodge mix of just weirdness. I think because I harassed him so many times, he's very convinced that I'm going to continue to do it. Oh yeah, I always forget that you can crush the cooling tower into debris. It becomes more powerful when it's debris. It's like 500 hit points before you destroy it. Then you destroy it, it becomes stronger somehow. I think that was just a Phoenix scout. See, missile turrets. Denying scouting. And at this point, I'm actually super comfortable with where I'm at. I don't know how he's feeling. He's moving into carriers. Oh, where's my carriers? There they are. Which I did eventually scout these, and I thought it was one of the most ridiculous things. Just because, in my mind, well, okay, carriers are cool. But as soon as I get air superiority and I have the upgrades in place, it's going to be pretty tough to contend with that. I mean, they are good, but, no matter how you spin it. Would have been nice if I had these guys come down here and scout this 4th base timing. We do have a warp prism in play. Upgrade still chugging along. He's got to be like maxed upgrades by now. No, he's 212. Other one's still in production here. He's got the money to be able to get more upgrades as well. Just building more bases. If he's going to give me the free time to do this, might as well. That is an interesting citadel of buildings. What I wanted to do was get these High Templars, because they're very expensive. They're worth generally taking out. But he wants to keep those there just to be able to deal with run-bys. I did see with my command center here this random warp prism. So I'll take that thing down. Good defense. Solid. Got my marines out of my bunkers and all these different spots just to see where I'm at. And now the widowmines come into play. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't have the burrow speed yet. I should be getting that here fairly soon. Spending my money pretty good. Gas is building up a little bit, but I want that gas. If I'm playing mech, that gas bank's pretty important to me. More tanks moving over for the defense. Main base, pretty mined out. Actually, there's a good chunk in here still. And I don't mind leaving kind of like these little blips of minerals later in the game, those can sometimes save your life. Just by if you got the chance to expand out and mine out bases further from your core, you might as well do that. And in just about every case, it makes more sense. If you got a bunch of probes, you can always easily, safely come back and mine these bases. It's the ones further out that are more difficult. So I'll generally try to transfer units over there as soon as possible to make sure. Still only sitting about 53 workers. Not a great number for a lot of this game, but it's kind of allowing me to get up to the stage that I want. Restarting his harass now. Not working out ideally. Scanning. I wanted to see where his army was because I figured that was just going to soften up my defense for the main army. There's no main army coming. So in come the Vikings and the Ravens now starting to get made. Pretty good air group. Upgrades aren't the best. Still at 1-2 plus 2 armor. I think I'm only working off 1 armor. No, I've got a second one. I just don't want to use this for some reason. So that is a tall order of an army right there. He got maxed out really quick. A lot of energy on High Templars. Archons that are almost full maxed upgrades including shields. Carriers. He's actually committed pretty good to his air upgrades. Lots of carriers, and he has 6 carriers. Why not, I say. And I've accidentally made a bunch of medevacs this game, I realized, because you get messed up when you're trying to make D to be able to make your widowmines, and then you go to your starports and you think D for any of your other units, and you just end up throwing away a bunch of money. So it's kind of sad about that. Such is life. This one Marine over here is going to fulfill his life goal. Throwing away a few SCVs, which I don't know if I really needed to do that. More medevacs just right. Like, imagine if these had some units in them. How much damage I could have done to these mineral lines here if I just decided to fill these up with a few things. That was kind of funny for me. Yeah, it even has a mothership core in here. So now, here's where we're going to see how these widowmines come into play against a Golden Armada style Protoss player here. Phoenixes, carriers, mothership core, Archons. Now the beauty is that when these interceptors were returning, they were pulling the widowmines back with it. So we got a lot of friendly splash damage onto a lot of these units here. Mothership core are very expensive. I'm gonna take that out. 3-3 on the way. More ravens, more widowmines. My own kind of elite silly mix of stuff. And still these medevacs chilling here, eating up my supply. That sucks. Could have at least sent them somewhere good, or like once again had some hellbats in them. Would have done pretty good with that. So we've taken just about every base on the map. All the gas is taken, and we're both starting to build up our banks now. I'm not remaxing really fast because I want the ideal mix, like more tanks and Thors would eat up my supply really fast, but not necessarily contribute to the fight that I want to take. I got the observer with that. How silly. Not much for anti-air in here, unfortunately. Pretty good storms, actually. Very softened up now. All these units have no shields left. My Ravens, for some reason, they want to run to the front of the fights. Scan ahead to see if there's more units that are going to intercept me. Once again, carriers are also not cheap. More air units behind this for myself. I probably need more starports, actually, when I'm looking at this. When I'm thinking building off of 3 this whole time. No, I've got 4. Got the repairs going on here. Widowmines clean up almost all of the interceptors. Phoenixes do a pretty good job of actually cleaning up a bunch of my Ravens. If we look at loss now, let's see what the balance. That's a sick disparity there. He's lost almost double what I have to this point. Still have some random units around here that I probably should be doing a little bit better with. Oh well. All my upgrades are finished. Once again, pretty much have taken all of our bases. I've snuck this one down here. I don't think he even realizes I have it yet. So I've got that one just wailing away. Still making carriers. And interestingly enough, it's fun to watch how these widowmines deal with them because you'd think they would do just as much splash damage to your own units, as the interceptors over top of your units. But they clean up so many interceptors with the splash damage, and sometimes get dragged back into the Protoss units. It's actually working out fairly effectively. I think I sent just 3 random tanks actually a bunch of tanks on the random offensive. They've really done no good for me here. They're not contributing at all to any of these fights. So I've essentially just voluntarily sacked them. DT warp in. Do I remember to scan these? Yes, I do, but I don't think, yeah, he does a really good job with his Phoenixes here to pick up those units before he can get too far ahead. Double command center going down. If he knew. That'd been a great little snipe from him. Very expensive little play. Pretty good armada for myself here. Had some SCVs on the repair, and we're following those guys around. More missile turrets going down. A pretty good spot. I don't think I've gotten my building armor, and I think this actually contributes a lot to some of these fights. It's a good storm. Actually does a lot of damage on that one because I walked back into it. Like a silly goose. And Immortals cleave through these auto turrets so fast. Didn't quite expect that to be the case. Snipe 1 observer on the way. Why not? But killed 2 carriers for that. Almost lost a lot of my ravens inside of those storms though, so almost desperately bad. Making into void arrays now, I don't know if that's necessarily the right call. I like having the storms in there as part of this. I think you've got the carriers with the storms and just trying to tie up the army in one spot a little bit better. Be a bit more successful. Glad I was able to sneak these bases down. As a Protoss player, I don't know why, if you've got a big bank like 4,000 minerals, just throw down a Nexus and like 18 cannons. I mean, I don't really see any reason not to. Widowmines in a good spot. Did a bit of damage with that there, making a couple of Thors as well, just to be able to get a little bit of ranged splash damage from the ground. I thought that would be a useful thing to tie into here. Still have these bases finished. Haven't been able to focus on it. Yeah, Widowmine takes out a carrier. Solid. And I have a big stack of Widowmines back here. I'm hoping to bait him into this. I had one random Banshee. I don't think I intended to make that Banshee. Nice Widowmine hits there. He's going to take out a couple of these command centers, and that's a pain in the ass because I really want to have my scans. So much damage going in on this guy right now. Widowmines with extra damage to shields, cleaning up so much stuff. And I decided I was going to chase into some of these stalkers just to make sure I took out the last of those carriers. And you see the supply, like how much Warden had lost in that one fight, and his bank is gone all of a sudden. Blinks out of there just in time. These Widowmines, though, have been champions of these fights. Happily, I've been able to take these bases, like essentially sneak them down, and bought myself a little bit of breathing room now, while he kind of rebuilds, so I can actually start building up these bases again. A lot of minerals here. I actually don't think I have many SCVs left. 48, I guess. It's not terrible. Love having all these missile turrets everywhere. Does a great job of dealing with DT harass and so forth. I still don't think he knows. Yeah, he doesn't know about this base that I've taken here. So it's allowing me to get up double planetaries with a whole bunch of missile turrets. And he happens to run right by the Widowmines. That was unfortunate. Actually take out another observer there. Do have 2 tanks in the back here. Once again, 2 tanks and a planetary. Do a pretty good job of handling this stuff. He is going to blink to take out the tanks. It's a smart move here. This planetary should probably shooting at the stalkers, using the splash damage more effectively. Missile turrets put in the work. Vikings landing because they're stupid and I have them on a hotkey that I thought I had some ravens left in, but I lost all my ravens. I think it's right now I'm kind of panicking. Like, what happened to all of my ravens? Oh, hopefully I don't forget about those forever. Bunch of gas is finished over here. I'm gonna have to start doing a little bit of SCV management. But this game's pretty frantic. It's almost always got action. It's big action. It's not like little harass units. It's big stacks of Protoss kind of coming straight at you. Lots of High Templars in here. And this is smart. I do go for an SCV surround on it though. I thought that would have been really cute to take that out. So he's just kind of putting in work where he can, which is good for me because I need time to rebuild here. A lot of my stuff is kind of all over the place. Tanks, widowmines, double planetary. Pretty solid. So yeah, that gets cleaned up pretty fast. And it's like he's got tons of money to just throw away. I mean, his economy is outstanding right now. But he can't just, throw stuff away. Did sneak one widowmine into the back there. Help deal with a little bit of that. Widowmine, just fields of widowmines everywhere. I think now we've actually got a slight lull in the action where he starts rebuilding. Getting immortals out. I mean, immortals are pretty good and they're, dealing with a lot of ground army, but don't know if they contribute enough to this fight. Couple more tanks. Hellbats come in here, trying to deal with this, but I think this is kind of where he's finally going to break this location. It wasn't free or anything like that. Like, it cost a good chunk to take that down. But that was our even base. So if I had that, we're technically even on bases. When I don't have that, he is going to be able to have one extra base than I will. That could, play in quite a bit with the economy here. Still nothing but widowmines really on the production tab. A couple more command centers getting built out. I am throwing in a couple more tanks now just because he's focused a lot more on ground army than air. He's kind of got a smattering of air units in here, but not really that much. I think I still have a couple of widowmines in here just laying down some law. Finally gets an observer in over there. Didn't get morphed fast enough there. Just trying to run in. See, there's no defense here. Almost was able to get in. Using DTs for defense is good, but they don't transition well into offensive units when you're dealing with, these kinds of setups. He was pretty good most of this game at being able to deal with seeker missiles, either splitting up or, getting into a better position. Lost a good chunk of units in doing that, though. Man, these 20-second point defense drones really changed. I thought it was going to just almost nullify Mech, just because of how drastic that is. I'm hoping to catch some of these High Templars just chilling. Doing some work. Good feedbacks, very nicely timed. Great hits there. I actually hit a bunch of High Templars with that strike. Man, I may have forgot about these all game now that I think about it. I don't know if I ever recovered these, and that's only 10 supply, but that's a lot of free energy that I could have been using. Finally getting some more cannons over here. And what's interesting about this is a game like this you usually see like 10,000, 8,000 kind of banks going on. Neither of us are really being able to achieve that. It's just a kind of back and forth slaughter fest. And he is doing better on economy than I am. High Templars scooting out in front. The beauty of running around with Viking and Raven is you get to clean up a lot of the, a lot of the observers they're kicking around. He does have, I think, one observer in here. He's got 3. 2 in position, 1 with his army. And this base is getting down over here. I did a pretty good job of mining out a bit of it, but there's still like 1,000 minerals on each of these patches. There's actually a spot maybe right in the back here I might have been able to drop some widow mines. That is not the case. Now I'm actually starting to push out. I've got a good sized army. Got the observer. Lots of widowmines in the front to tank. This is where a lot of charge lots I think would be helpful. If he did manage to run in a bunch of charge lots on the tanks, probably would have gotten a lot done. Splitting up the widowmines a bit so they don't kind of all cluster fire on one or two things. Couple random high Templars getting worked in. Guess they would have been able to give a feedback there in position. Discovered that throwing away a bunch of energy on auto defense turrets was not that successful. Trying to keep that energy low. Nice drag on that widowmine. More units coming out. Gonna try and siege up here. My idea is to really use this as just stable. It's not gonna get broken. Keep pushing down onto this angle. And you can see that's what we're both concerned about. Essentially just this choke point. And that's the gateway to this only really good base left. Like the rest of these are all gonna be mined out in the next couple of minutes. This one is gonna have the most economy left at the end of the game. This guy's still doing pretty good too. Just because I've not really put a lot of effort into it. He did try to blink on top. That you can't blink drag a... Oh, great feedbacks. He's been pretty good with his feedbacks most of this game. You can see my Ravens are beat to hell. Not a lot of them left. No energy on any of them. But with this minefield here, very difficult for him to push in, particularly with carriers. And I think that's part of the reason why he's not really wanted to contribute too many more carriers. One, they're very gas expensive, and he's really running out of gas. And the second is that, yeah, they're just getting shut down by the Widowmine Raven combo. We still got some minerals kicking around. 1,200 on one patch. 14 of those haven't barely even been touched. I have an idea at this point to try and break this base while it still matters a bit. Gonna get a bunch of widowmines into position to kind of cover my butt. So if it would have been smarter for me to lay him the minefield over here in hindsight and drag him through that, would have bought me a little bit more time. So he cleans that up. I mean, his supply you can see is super low, but I did throw away a lot of units of this defense to try and do that. And this is, if I had a bit more APM, would have been a great time to push in over here. I'm just not that Gosu Mega. I'm hoping to just catch him unawares on the way back. Pretty good damage, very beat up group of units over here too. So you can see I didn't take advantage of this well enough. I think that's my idea now, like great. Now I can go and push in over here. This base means nothing anymore now. Like it really has no point. But with all the widowmines here and the ravens, you can't really just push up into this. I think if it would have been really hard to do, but if he did actually find a way to get into, say, warp prism drops with storms, drag some widowmines like the old school Brood Wars style, drop the zealots on top of the minefields and drag them into the tanks, might have been able to work something about that. This might have been a good time for him to try and crush this position, actually. Because this one means nothing to him, really. All it is a big kind of fortress protecting this base. But this base is going to be pretty expensive to break. Throwing away, like, single Seeker missiles just to try and take out the High Templars. Very gas expensive, and he's only mining gas. Well, there's gas to mine up here. I'm surprised he's not mining from those gases. And now, because now I can leave this widow mine field here and try to push into a better spot. I mean, cleaning this up kind of serves that purpose, kill some infrastructure, you know, get rid of all this kind of spotting ground in the middle. This base is just getting super mined out every second I kind of delay pushing down there. So I feel like I have to move, ooh, great feedbacks. I have to move more quickly to try to take out this bottom left base before it's worth nothing to me. Probably storms might have been a little bit better on top of all this army there. Great warp in. Once again, he's going to completely catch my army. Walks right through the minefield. Great hits, did a ton of damage. He lost so many expensive units doing that. Trying to just do some more baiting into the minefields. Already got another army in position back here. Just trying to throw away a single zealot at a time on some of these mines. Got the blue flame hellions in place to try and deal with that. Finally has an observer in over here. Got that observer speed going. Need to pay attention to that though, so I can go and snipe that. I think I should see it now. Perhaps not. Tanks in a good spot now. Still, I'm very tunnel visioned on this one base, and it's almost not worth it at this point. Throwing away a lot of resources when I have this base up here with a ton of money on it that I should just be using a bit better, including the gases. Got even some idle units here that could be putting in some work into that. Great storms, hitting up a lot of these very, very fragile hellbats. This army is kind of once again forced to go through the minefield. Cleans up my army once again. Very softened up though. A lot of extra SCVs I've just got chilling. This for me I think was a little bit greedy. This one I'm like, ha, I'll go in here and totally smote this whole place. But now, unfortunately, I'm sacrificing almost all of these guys. I should have at least tried to pick up and run. I lost a lot of widow mines in that one moment there. Very, very unfortunate. Blue Flame Hellbats. I see he's got a very high Zealot comp, so I actually decided to try and take this fight. He's only got one Stalker in this whole thing as well. Nice splits on his units. More Widow Mines being made. Very unhappy with how that last fight turned out. Lost a ton of Widow Mines trying to be cheeky. That one Observer is able to go and clean up a lot of that. So many Zealots, but he's got no gas to spend, right? He still doesn't notice he's got gas available up here. Extra DT. Have a tank in place over here. Double planetaries. I'm finally taking my gases at this base here, and almost brand new gases. I think, yeah, that's the SCV train that I'm moving over. Good rebuilt army here, though. It's a good sizable little army. This base is almost mined out now. It's almost completely useless. Nice snake, we're able to grab a whole bunch of free High Templars. And you can get away with that sometimes in the late game. Get some of your Hellions together. Just run around the map and look for random units, because they don't build defenses into their mains as much. Sometimes you can get into the back of their base, kill pylons, just be a jerk with a few light units. Pretty heavy Immortal Zealot kind of army here. A lot more Widow Mines, more tanks in position. Good storm. Right now I'm just kind of poking. Just want to get in as much light damage as I can, force him back into the tanks. A lot of dancing. It's alright. For me, I've got a ton of minerals, so making Hellions is pretty easy. I think this is the only base I'm really mining from. I got a gas going down here. That's about it. Wow, I think that was a huge stack of probes right there, actually. Killed 71 workers this game. It's not shabby. He's actually building more workers now. He's down to 34 to my 30. Hellbat's coming in for defense. Now I realize I've got, like, the last actual base left. I don't know why he's building more probes. He's got so many extra ones down here. Maybe he just doesn't want to risk transferring them. He was trying to build kind of a cannon fortress in the middle of the map here. Very softened up army. I mean, there's shields. They can regenerate the shields, but you can even see a lot of the yellow and the red in there. I actually blew through a lot of my money. So now it's like cost effectiveness time. Now it's when we've got to actually be a bit more careful about how we play this thing, because both of us realize the money's essentially gone. He is cannon rushing the front of my base. I thought this was actually really clever. This is such a huge waste for me, you know, in hindsight. There's almost no value to me fighting this here. Whereas at this time, he's actually, you know, slowly getting detection and ability to siege up over there. I think, yeah, I just give up on it. Like, I killed a few cannons and then just decided to leave. Still have full vision of this army over here. It's only got a couple of Eye Templars left in here. So you gotta be very careful with how he uses these. It's also, for me, being very careful not to retreat into this army. One kind of bad misclick or misdirection there will actually be very, very dangerous. Pull back the widowmines, and now I'm rerouting my units over this way. But he's not interested in coming to fight me over here. This is kind of a big waste. Probably could even pull these tanks away. They don't really do me any good over here anyways. It's a nice little fortress so he can, you know, attack from this side, but it's not really doing necessarily any serious good. Finally have one tank in position over here. Bad siege up timing, great storms, gonna get a ton of damage in. Widowmines, still awesome. And that's really what he's got left for an army here. More tanks and Hellions on the way. Yeah, I do repair this up. And now I'm just going to push this back. This was a very expensive push from him here. A lot of pylons and cannons going down. That's minerals that he really can't afford to spend. He's not mining any more minerals from anywhere. Where's actually is he? He's got something going on. Yeah, he's got a couple of mineral patches left. But for me, this is just energy. So that's why Ravens are always a great late game unit. More Stalkers coming in. I think what he'd like to do is get cheeky with some Blink Micro. Like come in, take a few shots, back out before your shields kind of get destroyed. Which wouldn't be too bad of an idea. Nice feedback, snipes one of those Ravens. Storms do not hurt buildings, just in case you were wondering. Yeah, I got the gas. His gases are now empty. All of them are empty. So he's making 0 gas now. And he's only making a little bit of minerals. That's all he's got left in this game. Spreading out some widow mines, set some traps to the north and the south. Every High Templar I can snipe, so valuable. He's got no more gas left to make any more. So any chance I get to do that, it's going to be very, very important. We're not likely going to see the supply go up too much higher now. And for me, it's just about patience at this point. Just want to be as patient as possible. Don't want to throw away any units I don't have to. Use all my free units that I can. Well, let's just look at Lost right now. Not quite double anymore. 86,000 to 51,000. $35,000 more. Oop, no pause. In losses. Where is his army right now anyways? Yeah, I think what he's at this point he's just trying to hold out. And I'm just gonna start taking my ravens everywhere and start just picking off random buildings. Like at this point it's just no rush. I've played this game for over an hour. Don't want to throw it away doing something foolish. Got money, I'm not spending it on purpose here. Like I've got the ability to use my ravens if I need to transition or get a specific type of unit out. I can always do that. Couple of SCVs down here to repair up the units I do have because they're very expensive. Make a lot more sense. He is going to move around here, and this was an interesting decision on his part. I mean, he wants to get in some damage. He might even try to go base trade or something like that. He decides to push into this one fortress, which once again holds no value. And take out another observer. It's so important to take that. I don't know if he's got any left. Nope, that was his last observer. So there's actually no way that he could... Like, I could just build all my widow mines around a building. And eventually just win this thing out. But he's going to stick with it. He's going to do the damage he can. This doesn't bother me too much. Still more PFs he's got to go through. Sniping some buildings. A lot of widow mines just chilling over here too. That's such a nice little line of stuff everywhere. Auto turrets, gonna go to work. Did I get my upgrades for those guys? Yes, I did. Split up my widow mines. I know he's just gonna try and push into my main base here pretty quick. We got another planetary down here I had from earlier. He's losing all of his buildings right now on this side. He's done mining. He is spent. Should have brought his probes with him. Big hits. And there's the GG. That was probably the longest TvP I have ever played. And that was actually a blast. It was so much fun. Thank you guys for being with me on that long game. SeKo Starcraft. We'll talk with you later.